Okay, so these are the review notes for adjectives. We saw adjectives a long time ago. I don't know if you remember when we took notes and learned about clothes and colors. That was months ago. All right. So these are review notes. There's nothing new if you do remember how to work with adjectives in Spanish. But we got to review them though because if you noticed in the vocab for this chapter, there is a long list of adjectives that you're supposed to be, at the very least, familiar with. For example, tall, short, good looking, crazy, etc., etc. There's a long list of them. So we got to review this. There will be a quiz on it. So take some good notes, pay attention, and do the practice so that you do well on the quiz. Okay, so let's begin. First off, before we jump into adjectives, do you remember your possessive adjectives? You just took a quiz on it, so I hope you do. This chart should look very, very, very familiar. All right. These are your possessive adjectives, okay? I wanted to review these real quick because these are going to show up along with the adjectives once we get there. So let's review this real quick. I suggest you write it down as well. So go ahead and pause this whenever you want, but let's go through it real quick. So if you remember, my it can be said in two different ways. It's either me or mis, right? And how do you choose between one and the other one? Well, it's right. Me is the singular form, and mis is the plural form, right? And how do you know which one to choose? Well, the second word helps you determine which one you choose. Meaning, if I say like my parents, right? Parents is the second word, and parents is two people. So therefore, you have to choose mis, right? Mis padres, my parents. What if you said my sister? That's only one person, so therefore mi hermana, right? And on and on and on. So that's the way this one works. And down here, just to clarify though, how do you say his? His is either su or sus. It's automatically not this one. You have to consider both. All right. His is su or sus. And same criteria, you choose one or the other one based on the second word, whether that second word is singular or plural. So if I want to say his dad, dad is one person, so therefore I would say su papa. What if I said his grandparents? Grandparents is two people or multiple people. So it has to be sus abuelos. All right. How do you say her? Her is also su and sus. All right. So just to be clear, for each one of these, both of them are possibilities. All right. Her is su or sus. And again, you choose it based on the word that's right after. So what if I said her uncle? Uncle's one person, so su tío. What if I said her uncles? Well, uncles is more than one person, so it has to be sus tíos. All right. Again, same thing for your formal. It's either su or sus, and I use the same criteria. Over here for their, same exact thing. There is both of these, and you choose based on the word that's right after. So what if I said their mom? Mom is one person, so it's su mama. What if I said their aunts? Aunts is more than one person, so it's sus tías. All right, same thing for your guys's. Please don't confuse this with you guys. You guys is ustedes with the apostrophe after the S. This is your guys's. All right, so it sounds like there's two S's right there. Your guys's. And it'll make sense if you put a word after, like your guys's brother. Right? Brother is one person, so su hermano. Your guys' brothers, that's more than one brother, so sus hermanos. All right. Again, we don't use this one, so don't worry about this one because it's the Spain one, and nobody here in the United States uses it. You come across a native Spanish speaker and you say this, they won't know what you're saying. Okay, so it's not going to show up on the quiz, so don't worry about it for right now. And our has 4 ways of being said, right? It's nuestro. Again, don't confuse this one with nosotros, right? Because nosotros is we, okay? So nuestro, that's the masculine singular. Nuestra, that's the feminine. Nuestros, that's masculine and plural. And nuestras, that's feminine and plural. All right, so again, you choose one of those 4 variations based on the word that's right after the second word. That's what it says down here. So what if I said our sister? Sister is a girl, so nuestra hermana. What if I said our mom? Mom is a girl, so still nuestra. What if I said our grandpa? That's one person and it's a guy, so nuestro abuelo. What if I said our uncles? Uncles is more than one and they're guys, so nuestros tíos. And what if I said our nieces? Nieces is more than one and they're girls, so nuestras sobrinas. All right, so that's how that works. All right, it's based on the word that's after. That helps you determine which one of these choices you choose. So again, you already took a quiz on this. Hopefully you did well, and now that we're reviewing it, hopefully it still makes sense. All right, so the reason I'm going over this is because this is going to show up in conjunction with the regular adjectives that we're about to see, like tall, short, good looking, etc., etc. All right, so let's get there. All right, so a definition of adjectives. Adjectives do what? What's their function? What's their role? Adjectives describe a noun, right? They describe people, places, and things. You can pause this and write that down, but let's continue. For example, I am smart, right? Smart describes me, so therefore that is my adjective. I am smart. Got some other ones. You don't need to write them down necessarily, but you can just pay attention and say them out loud as you're watching this. What's my adjective on this one? You guys are busy today. All right, so describe. So obviously busy is the adjective. How about the next one? They are handsome. Being handsome is an adjective because it describes them. How about campus is closed on Sundays? Being closed is the adjective because it describes the state of the campus. Your friends are very nice to everybody. And the adjective would be nice, all right, because it describes the friends. All right, so that is an adjective. We got the definition down. Let's continue. How do we work with adjectives in Spanish, right? So like I said, you know, like all those adjectives from this chapter, like tall, short, etc. So we, at this point, you already know we're at the very end of Spanish 1, almost Spanish 2 students. So when we talk about gender, we're talking about what? Masculine and feminine, of course. All right, so if you remember from the colors, you know, like colors like rojo and roja, right? It can also be changed into rojos, rojas, right? 4 variations of the color red, and then you choose rojo, roja, rojos, or rojas based on the gender of the noun or the object that it was describing. Do you remember that? Well, the same thing we have to do with these other adjectives, like tall. Tall is alto, but it can be alta, or altos, or altas. All right, so that's what these notes are all about, just to remind us of those rules and do some practice. All right, so the endings of adjectives must be made masculine by changing the ending to an O, or making it feminine by changing it to an A. If possible, of course. There are some adjectives that don't end in an O or an A, so therefore we got to do something different there. So we'll look at those words in a second. But usually O is for masculine, A is for feminine, if possible. All right, so again, we'll see some examples in a second. So we got gender down. What about number? By number, I mean singular versus plural. All right, so if you remember way back at the beginning of the year, to make a noun plural, right? There were 3 rules in Spanish. If you remember, if it ends in a vowel, you add an S. If it ends in a consonant, you add an ES. And if it ends in a Z, you drop the Z and you replace it with CES. All right, those 3 rules were to make a noun plural in Spanish, but those same 3 rules also apply to adjectives. All right, which we're about to see in a second. So if it ends in a vowel, add an S. If it ends in a consonant, add an ES. And if it ends in a Z, drop it and replace it with CES. All right, so let's look at all right, let's look at those words. All right, so this is just a screenshot from the textbook. I did give you some extra words, but this is the majority of the adjectives that you'll be working with for this quiz. Hopefully you know all your words for the family, and these are the adjectives we need to work with. Okay, so if you notice, most of these have an O/A option at the end of it. And as you wrote down on the notes right now, if it ends in an O, you're describing a masculine person, a guy. You can change the O to an A though to make it feminine to describe a girl, right? Like mom, sister, niece, grandma, aunt. And same thing with all these that have the OA option. All right, so O is for masculine, A is for feminine. These though, the ones that end in an E, like amable, caliente, libre, triste, they end in E's. So which do I change the ending? Do I leave it? What do I do? All right, so amable, the ones that end in E, like amable, libre, they are masculine with the E, and they are feminine with the E. So do not change the E to an O or an A. That is just not possible. All right, so it's already masculine, but it's also already feminine. All right, so don't change the E. The only thing you can do, though, is make it plural. You can make it plural by adding an S, all right? We said if it ends in a vowel, we add an S. So we can add an S to all these because they end in vowels, whether it's an O, an A, or an E, right? We can add an S to all these to make them plural. We said if it ends in a consonant, we add an ES to make it plural, right? That would be this one right here, popular. The R is a consonant, right? Vowels are A, E, I, O, U. Consonants are anything that's not A, E, I, O, U, like the R. So the plural of this, well, first of all, masculine, popular, feminine, popular. And to make it plural, ES, because it ends in a consonant. ES, so populares. All right. And so if it ends in a vowel, add an S. If it ends in a consonant, add an ES. And if it ends in a Z, which if you look right here, none of them end in a Z, but I did give you some extra words, and there was one specifically that ended in, this is not going to work. Let's see. Okay, this is not reacting. Let me see. Give me a second here. All right, there it is. I did give you one word, and it was feliz, which means happy. So feliz, masculine, feliz, you don't change it. Feliz feminine is feliz, you don't change it, but you can make it plural though. And feliz will become, we said drop the Z and replace it with CES, right? So that's what happy looks like, at least for the word feliz. As you already know, there's 2 other ones that mean happy, but if I ask you to use this one and you need to make it plural, drop the Z and replace it with CES. All right, so feliz versus felices. All right, so I just wanted to go through that. Let's go back to the PowerPoint. Oh, actually, all right, let me see. All right, what I want to do with all these right now is make them all feminine and plural. All right, let's make them all feminine and plural. So the ending of this one is going to be AS. What about this one? Just the S. Amables. What about this one? AS. AS. Bonitas. What about this one? Just the S. O calientes. What about this one? AS. Cansadas. Cariñosas. Cerradas. Contentas. Divertidas. Enfermas. Frías. Guapas. What about here? Just add an S. So libres, limpias, locas. This one I can't do anything with. It's not gonna show up, so don't worry about that. Neither this one, because that's a possessive adjective. Right? They both mean my. But what about here? Nerviosas. That's a possessive adjective. Don't worry about that. That's the nuestro, nuestra, nuestros, nuestras. Ocupadas, otras. How about here? How do I make it feminine and plural? It's already feminine, so just make it plural. So do I add an S or an ES? Or a CES? All right. It ends in a consonant, so I just add an ES. So populares. That's the susus, so ignore that one. Sucias, todas. Add an S. Tristes. Ignore that one. It's a possessive adjective. And únicas. All right. So again, change the endings for masculine, feminine, and make them plural when necessary, depending on whoever they're describing, right? I'll just give you one quick example, but that's what we're about to do on the PowerPoint. Loco, loca means crazy, right? The 4 variations of this word is loco, loca, locos, locas. All right, what if we're trying to describe let's see, our dad is being crazy? It'd be loco. What about our tia as being crazy? Our aunt, so it'd be loca. What about our brothers? It'd be locos. What about our sisters? Locas. All right, so that's how that works. Let's resume where we left off. Boom, boom, boom. I got an example for you. So I wanted to describe my sisters as being pretty. All right, would it be mis hermanas son bonito? Or bonita? Or bonitos? Or bonitas? Which one of those 4 variations would describe my sisters? All right, obviously they're girls, so in feminine. And they're more than one, mis hermanas, my sisters, right? So it needs to be plural. I'll just abbreviate it. So feminine and plural. So what's the feminine plural variation? It has to be mis hermanas son bonitas. All right, so that's what these notes are about. There is one more thing though, and it's the word order, right? It's the reason why people that are learning Spanish as a second language, when they've learned English beforehand, is the reason why a lot of people say that Spanish is backwards, because of the word order of adjectives usually. All right, so in English, the way we like to do things in English is that we put adjectives before the noun, before the person that it's describing. For example, my favorite aunts. All right, so if I'm saying that adjectives go before the noun in Spanish, what is the opposite of before the noun? After. So in Spanish, adjectives go after the noun. So in other words, these 2 words got to get swapped. They swap positions. That's how we do things in English, but in Spanish, we do things the other way. All right, and I think I made the point in person months ago, um, before the coronavirus hit, that English is actually the language that does things backwards in relation to the rest of the world, or the rest of the languages in the world usually do things the way Spanish does it. So Spanish is actually among the crowd, and English is the weird one that likes to do things differently. All right. So English is backwards. So let's continue. What if I wanted to say this, but in Spanish down here? So I'll put a bullet down here. And let's go ahead and translate this piece by piece. All right. How do I say my? Right. If you remember from the very first slide, the possessive adjectives, there's two ways of saying my. It's either me or mis. Me or mis. I know we said it's based on the second word, but it's based on the second word that would be there in Spanish, which is the person, this person. So, or these people in this case. So is it me or mis for aunts? More than one person, so it's got to be mis. So I'll go to write mis right here. Mis with an S. And next I got to put the word aunts after mis. And then the word favorite will go at the end, all right? It will go after the person that is describing, which in this case it's aunts. All right, so mis, how do you say aunts? Mis tías, right? Because one aunt is tía with an X mark on the I, tía, but aunts with an S, tías, so mis tías. And then the word favorite has four variations: favorito for masculine, favorita for feminine, favoritos for masculine feminine, or masculine plural, and favoritas for feminine plural. And it's all based on this person right here, or these people. So aunts are girls, and there are more than one. So which one of those four variations do I choose? Hopefully you chose favoritas. So it should look like this: mis tías favoritas. All right, so when you put it together, this is what it should look like. This is the expectation that you'll be able to translate a short phrase that looks something like this into something that looks like this. All right, so the rest of of this PowerPoint is all practice. I do want you to practice on Quizlet on your own using that vocab. I mean, if you got some of it memorized, great, but if you need to look in your vocab, use it. All right, but this is the expectation that you can translate this into this in Spanish. All right, let's do some practice. And at this point, it's up to you if you would like to write some of these examples down. I recommend that you do write at least some of them down. Maybe some of the weirder ones that maybe it might be a good idea to have in your notes, so that when you're practicing, and maybe even while you're taking the quiz, you have these notes. And who knows, maybe some of the problems on the quiz may be from these notes. Might be a good idea. All right. Or at the very least, they'll be very similar. All right. Here we go. I'm just asking you to use the right ending of the adjective good looking for this person. Mi prima. Is it guapo, guapa, guapos, or guapas? That's a girl, and it's one person, so it's just with an A, guapa. All right, so that's what this whole page is about. Let's continue. All right, so I'm trying to describe the hermanos as being affectionate, so it's more than one, and they're guys. So the ending needs to be with an O and an S. So cariñosos. All right, next one is describing these people. So they're tías, they're aunts, they're girls, and it's more than one. So it's girls and more than one. So make it plural. So divertidas. All right, our grandparents. Grandparents is a guy and a girl, or guys and girls. So mix, remember with mixed, you go with the masculine. And it's more than one for sure because it has the S. So doesn't change from masculine, feminine. It's just with the E, but I do need that S. So amables is the answer. All right. Her daughters, his daughters, your daughters, formal, your guys' daughters, or their daughters. Those are the possible meanings, but it doesn't matter. This word is what's going to help me determine the ending of this. So daughters, they're girls, and it's more than one. You can't make that feminine. It's already feminine. But I do need the plural, so I need the ES. All right. Why the ES and not just an S? Is because this ended in a consonant, and I need an ES to make it plural. So populares. All right. Padres, my parents. Parents is a guy and a girl. They're mixed, but I go with masculine when it's a guy girl. And it is plural. So masculine and plural. So nerviosos. Your nieces are girls, and it's more than one. So feminine and more than one. So apuradas. Our mom. Based on mom, that's one person and it's a girl. So one person and it's a girl. So loca. And the school. What's the feminine of us? What's the gender of a school? I'm sorry, I just said it. Because of la, it's feminine. So, and it's just one. So feminine, and it's only one. So feminine is cerrada. All right. So this page was just simply to get you to choose the right endings to match the gender and whether it's plural or not. Okay. But if you notice, every single one of these blanks was for the adjectives, and adjectives go at the very end. Okay, they go after whoever they're describing, which were all these people right here. Okay, so on the next slide, I'm going to ask you to do a translation that'll look like this with the adjective as part of it. All right, please do not forget to put the adjective at the end. All right, at the end. So here we go. This is the last slide. Traducciones are translations. All right, so I want to say on this one, my crazy cousins. Again, I recommend you write these down. Might be a good idea. You can pause it. What I recommend is write this down, put an equal sign, pause this so that you don't hear the answer from me just yet. And then once you have your answer, go ahead and resume playing the video so that you can see the answer. That way you can do it ahead of time to see if you got it. And then you can double check your answer by resuming the video. All right, so here we go. I'm going to assume you solved it already and you're just double checking it. My crazy cousins. All right, so this is either me or mis, right? Me or mis. And is based on cousins. So obviously it's more than one, so it's got to be mis with an S. Next, do I say the crazy or do I say cousins? I got to swap these words out, remember, because in Spanish we put our adjectives, which is this, we put our adjectives after. All right, so it's my, and then cousins, and then crazy. So my cousins, and then crazy. All right, so how do I say cousins then? It doesn't say if they're guys or girls. And remember, if it doesn't specify, go with masculine as a default because we assume it's mixed, guys and girls. But we go with masculine for when it's a mixed group, right? So masculine. So mis, primos, and then crazy's right here. So I got to choose the right ending to match those cousins. Again, we said masculine and plural. Masculine and plural. So what's the masculine plural ending of crazy? Masculine and plural. So it should have been mis primos locos. There's the answer. Hopefully that's what you wrote. I got 4 more. Again, I recommend writing these down, put an equal sign, solve them, and then once you're done, and then once you're done, continue watching this video so you can double check your answers, okay? But this is the expectation that you can translate something like this into something like this. So let's continue. At this point, I'm going to assume you solved them all and you're just double checking your work. All right, if you look at your possessive adjectives, her is susus, susus. You got to make a decision. You don't make that decision based on this, so you can't say su because of the word her. All right. Normally it's the second word, but if you notice, this is the adjective, so I got to look beyond. I got to look at this. So this is what's going to help me determine between susus. All right. So for brothers, that's more than one, so it's got to be sus. So this is sus. And then next is I swap these words out because I got to say brothers and then good looking. So sus hermanos. And then good looking is here. I got to choose the right one. For brothers, they're guys and is more than one. So they're guys and is more than one. So sus hermanos guapos. Hopefully that's what you wrote. Next one, our. There's 4 ways of saying our. Remember, that's nuestro, nuestra, nuestros, nuestras. And I choose it. Normally it would have been based on the second word again, but I got to look beyond to the third one because that's an adjective. All right, so, and plus these 2 words got to swap places, so this will be the second word. Our, mom, nervous. So nuestro or nuestra for mom. It's a girl, so it has to be nuestra. And then next is mom. Do I say madre or do I say mamá? Madre is mother, mamá is mom. All right, they both refer to the same person, but it is important that you choose the right one. So mom, make sure you say mamá with an accent mark over the last A. Nuestra mamá. And nervous, I got to choose the right variation to describe the mom. Mom is a girl and it's only one, so nerviosa. Nuestra mamá, again, accent mark on the A. Or more like this. Nuestra mamá nerviosa. All right, how about the next one? Your dirty school. Your is tus, and I choose it. Normally it would have been the second word, but I look beyond into this one because both of these will swap places. So tu or tus for escuela. It's only one school, so tu escuela. And if you remember, is it el escuela or la escuela? Right, it's la escuela, so it is feminine. So dirty is this one, but I choose the feminine version, so sucia. So tu escuela sucia. Again, if you have the vocab memorized, great, but if you don't, look it up. All right, please don't use Google Translate. I'm going to make sure to use words that Google Translate will not give you the right answers for. All right, sometimes there's different words to refer to the same thing. Google Translate's not going to help you pass the quiz. All right, it will not help you solve anything, so please stay away from it. All right, here we go. Your guys's, not you guys, your guys's. Remember with the apostrophe, it sounds like 2 S's. Your guys's. How do you say your guys's? Look at the top of these notes. Those are your possessive adjectives. At the very bottom right hand corner, that's susus. Your guys's is susus. All right, susus. And I choose it based on normally the second word, but again, I got to look beyond into this one because these 2 words will swap places. So is it su or sus for aunts? Aunts is more than one, so sus, tías, with an X mark on the I. And then next is busy. Got to choose the right variation for the aunts. They're girls, and it's more than one, so girls, and it's more than one. So sus tías ocupadas. All right, again, accent mark over the I. All right, and that concludes these notes, everybody. Please do the practice on Quizlet. I put a link on the Google Classroom for easier access. But use your notes that you just took. Use the vocab in case you can't remember the word. But practice, 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 practice until this makes sense. Because that's pretty much the format of the quiz that we're going to take on Friday. So just trust your knowledge, trust what you're doing, practice, practice, and don't stop until you get this. All right.